Welcome back to Fresh Outlook on our third segment now. When an athlete who has built a reputation as a great example for their sport, as a champion or even a pillar of their community, it can be shocking and even disheartening when they make headlines for all the wrong reasons. So why do we keep finding these shocking stories topping the headlines? Let's take a deeper look and talk it out.
Luis Suarez has bitten off a little more than he can chew. The player from Uruguay has been banned from the FIFA World Cup. This is his third biting incident. The star player allegedly bit the shoulder of an Italian player during Uruguay's 1-0 win in the group stage. However, he is not the only sports figure who has misbehaved over the years. In 1997, Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear during a boxing match.
This is the second bite of the round.
Last year, Lance Armstrong admitted to doping for over a decade in an interview to Oprah Winfrey. Earlier this year, the Calgary Flames and the Vancouver Canucks hockey teams go at it at the start of their NHL game.
At 6, McGrattan just got the best of Sestito.
And the Boston Red Sox stormed the mound again against the Tampa Rays, adding to their long-standing history of infamous brawls. These are just a few sports players behaving badly. So why do sports players feel the need to take part in this disruptive behavior?
All right, that's where we're going to start our segment. Why do these sports figures do that? Dr. Bart, you're on my right-hand side. We're going to start with you on this one.
Well, I have to start with Suarez, with the biting, okay?
Well, that was just weird.
I've been trying to figure out what it is that makes people do this, including Tyson. And there's two basic theories on this. One, I don't really go for it, and that is that it's an aggressive internal feature that comes out under pressure or gamesmanship. I don't go for that. I think it's intimidation. I think that it's deliberate. It's a way to intimidate the other person and try to be.
No way! It's the first one. They're animals. And notice that it's never a woman. Have you noticed that? It's always the men that are doing the biting and doing these crazy things. Even that newscaster did it. Gross.
There's just not too many.
It's deliberate.
I mean, I might be a little bit more afraid if I thought somebody was going to bite me, but it's just weird.
Well, that's the point.
Weird.
Someone's going to bite your ear off? Are you kidding me? Or just start biting on you? That's ridiculous. No, I think it's a testosterone man thing. I think it's that first theory, Dr. Bart.
No, I think it's a deliberate way of projecting yourself out there as the toughest guy around.
But you look like a whack job doing it. I mean, I think
they don't care.
Really,
listen,
you got away with it twice.
Paul's in the money business, and I don't think there's a lot of money guys going around biting people. So
be surprised.
When
the market goes down, things
on
get
Wall
nuts.
Street, you got some buy marks down there, really?
Nuts.
But think about some of these folks. We have. Lance Armstrong, again, on top of the world. We just, in our second segment, we were talking about Michael Jackson. Now we're talking about sports figures. And here they are on top of the world. And everything starts to fall apart. And you always wonder why this happens. I mean, we same question as before, Dr. Bart, but I'm going to you. But, why do we keep seeing
Well, Armstrong projects a different personality type. He would do anything to be successful. Cheat, not a problem. And there are a lot of athletes who will do anything to get to the top. And they think that they're above the law, they're beyond reproach, and that's their attitude, that's their personality. And you see it coming out with Armstrong.
Well, I'm going to kind of actually take this segment and go a little bit into the political arena, Dee Dee, and the money arena, Paul. Because we do see some folks, obviously, they think that they're just above the law, whether it's a billionaire who might cheat, or even a politician who might cheat.
Never.
Only the Democrats, right, Dee Dee?
Yeah, right. Only Democrats.
Well, they justify what they're doing,
right,
because of their will to win, their drive to win, the drive to succeed. Whether it's stepping on somebody, cheating somebody, breaking the law. They do things that are not moral, that are not ethical, but in their minds they're doing it for a reason, and they justify why they do it.
And also a lack of empathy, which would make you a narcissist. Isn't that correct, Dr. Bart?
Definitely narcissistic traits, the ego traits. I mean, they feel that they're bigger than life. They want to get to the top, and when they're at the top, that's all that counts. So in between, they're not worried about anything
Well, also
else.
with athletes, I mean, there's something to be said when they start getting older and they start losing their edge. You know, they need something to make them a little better, or they feel like, hence
But even young kids today,
drugs.
They know taking steroids is a bad thing and it's not good for your health, but yet they feel the only way that they have the edge to compete is to take steroids,
right.
and they take them knowing that they're going to destroy their liver. They can have heart attacks at a young age. It does all sorts of bad things to their body, but the net result is I'm going to get bigger, stronger, faster, so I'm going to be a better athlete, so I'm going to do it.
And they're competing. They're not just competing for the sport. They're competing now for millions of dollars, where I think you're seeing the more prevalence of all these different kinds of drugs because of those millions of dollars. You didn't have that 50 years ago when the players, they were drinking and smoking in the clubhouse.
And gambling. Pete Rose, he's still out.
Joe Namath, Broadway Joe.
Yeah, I'd just like to comment on Paul's point, because it's really a good one, because I think these folks, they think about getting to the top, and that's all that matters to them. And that's their focus in life, and that's all they're thinking about.
Just short term, they forget about the long term, right?
So there was a study out with a number of psychologists who asked kids 18 to 20 years old, if you could be a football star, #1 draft choice, but you knew that you'd die by 50, but you take the steroids, they take the steroids.
Yeah.
More than half of them said, I'd take the steroids.
Because I think most kids don't have any idea that something bad could happen at that young age.
They don't.
Which I think even in your 20s. Yeah, you're invincible.
Yeah.
And I think politicians are a little different because this really is performance oriented. I really think that they think they're so powerful, arrogant, that they really can't get away with it. That is their mindset. In DC, they start thinking that way. I think it's a little different. I think it's performance oriented for the most part with the athletes.
Well, and they do call them sometimes the 1%ers who think they're above the law. And they shouldn't be punished and things like that, much to your point, Dee Dee.
They're just used to getting away with it. They've got the money, the power, and they always get away with it. But in the end, most of the time they get caught.
Look at taxes. Going back to Michael Jackson, these celebrities, athletes, billionaires that just refuse to pay taxes because they feel that they shouldn't have to. And they have the money to do it at that time, but they just choose not to pay their taxes because I am who I am, so I don't have to pay taxes.
And lots of them seem like they can just get away with it. It's just, when celebrities are powerful people, you know what, let's just see what I can get away with. I think it's a rush for them.
Well, we definitely know that whatever arena you're in, whether it is the political arena, the finance arena, or even if you're talking about athletes and celebrities, the question is, especially for the role models with the sports figures, because they seem to be the biggest role models, and celebrities, I should say. So how can you teach at this point, Paul, you've obviously got a young son, but how do you teach kids, to do the right thing when these celebrities are not?
You got to choose your role models carefully, for sure. And the moral, fiber of the country is coming apart, unfortunately. You wouldn't have the things. I was driving in a funeral procession about a week ago, and 20 years ago, no one would think about cutting into that funeral procession. When I tell you, I watched it happen 15 times along this course, and I could not believe myself. Pull over to the side of the road, do the right thing, and we're losing that very, very quickly.
Well, I think when the Kardashians are the top role models, I do think so. However, I will say one thing. I once cut in a funeral procession by accident, and I really honestly, I think I did it twice.
Oh my gosh, terrible.
But then that's the difference, because your conscience said, oh, I can't believe what I just did. You felt
you
bad.
didn't mean to.
The guy who cut in front of us and said, he was trying to get to the beach and he had waited for 10 minutes and he was in a rush. Well, this is a funeral, and that's what you have to do.
So it's really, I guess the answer is for parents to choose role models with the kids, or as best influence them.
Yeah, I think role models who have had a strong history of being successful and projecting well.
All right, well, we're going to come back with much more, everyone, with a lighter look at the topics of the week. We call it the lightning round here on Fresh Outlook, and that's coming up next.